Annenberg Media.
Plants are living things, so where do they get their food? Do plants need sun to grow?
Welcome to Shedding Light on Science. I'm Christine Jones, and I observe the sky using X-rays. So far in this series, we've explored the properties of light, how light photons reflect from smooth and rough surfaces, how light photons may refract when they pass from one material to another, and how light photons are absorbed by materials. We've also explored how we see and how we see colors. We see the colors in this beach ball because photons are reflected from the ball to our eyes. We see red because the lower energy photons that our brain interprets as red are reflected. This means, of course, that the remaining visible light photons are absorbed. So for each color on this ball, some of the light is reflected and the rest is absorbed. Just as non-living things reflect and absorb light, so do living things, like plants. Today we'll explore the many ways in which light is important to plants, why plants are green, how plants get food, what happens to the visible light that plants absorb, and how light energy is transformed to chemical energy.
And I'm Anita Greenwood, a science educator from the University of Massachusetts Lowell. My work involves helping children make sense of their observations about the world. Let's start our exploration at the beginning of a plant's life, with a seed. We all know that in the United States, we generally plant seeds in the spring as the weather is getting warmer. We put them in moist soil so that they have a supply of water. But what about light? Do seeds need light to grow? We asked a group of teachers in Lowell, Massachusetts, to tell us how their children have set up experiments to find out whether seeds need light to grow.
Windowsill in direct light.
We took seeds and soil, and we put one in a window with light, and we watered them, and then we put one in a dark closet.
Okay, Kathy, you
Okay.
go.
One container with soil and 2 seeds with light. Same amount of water and temperature. Then we're going to have another container with soil and 2 seeds with a cardboard box covering it. Same amount of light. I'm sorry, same amount of water and temperature.
Okay.
We're going to observe them every 2 days and record in our journals.
We decided not to use soil. We decided to just put them on wet paper towels and put them in plastic bags. And we've all done this. And this one is very exciting for the kids because I think they would probably predict that they wouldn't grow.
Yes.
But it's very exciting when all of a sudden they'd open up the paper towel and they'd see that they actually have sprouted. I mean, I've done this where they put it in their desk over the weekend and then come back on Monday morning and they see, it's like, wow, magic. So that's why we just chose to do it without the soil.
Okay, the color is different, the length is different.
This one just barely started.
This one's yellow. The leaves on these are more closed too, aren't they? See how these are opened up more? Although this one is closed too, the top, but that's just coming out. This one is just coming out. Okay, put them straight up. Let's see if we can find an average length till we get a little.
The plants that grow from seeds and continue growing in the dark have very white stems with small yellow leaves. The stems tend to be long and spindly. We say that these plants are etiolated. Plants growing in the light have stems which are thicker, and the leaves are usually green. Before we investigate why there are differences in plants grown in the dark and in the light, let's think about what a seed needs to start to grow. Seeds, like the plants that grow from them, are living things. That seeds, or even plants, are living is a key idea for young children to begin to understand. We visited Lowell, Massachusetts, where Pilar Fabry is talking with her combination first and second grade children about living things.
Well, students, you have been working very hard on your pictures about habitats. I would like for you to come and share your pictures, and I'm going to ask you to point to the things you have in your picture that are living things and non-living things. And as you share with your classmates, I'm going to be writing here. Okay? Audrey, what did you include in your habitat? First of all, what is your habitat?
A tree.
A tree?
I made a bird nest, the father, the two babies. And this is the mother bringing home a worm.
Okay, so as you continue sharing, honey, I'll write a few things here.
And I made these two butterflies.
Are there any non-living things in your...
Only three things that are the same.
Mm-hmm.
3 rocks.
Okay. I see a rainbow on your picture.
There's a fly in front of the rainbow.
Mm-hmm. Where would you put the rainbow? Living things, non-living things?
Non-living. So that's 4 things.
You've mentioned a few different things you have in your picture, like shark, crab, stingray, pearl. Let's look at the list of words I have here. I have one list that has rabbit, butterflies, owl, birds. I have a second group, and it has the word tree and the word apple. Then there's a third list, and it says rocks, rainbow. Where would I write the word shark?
Rabbit, butterflies, owl.
Okay. I'll put numbers here to help you identify the lists.
Number 1.
Number 1. What about crab?
Number 1. Number 2. 1.
Okay.
Number 21.
What about the word pearl?
Number 3. 6, 7. And I have a tiny little snail down there.
Uh-huh. Where would I put it?
Number 1. Nothing goes in number 2. Tiny something goes in number 2. Starfish.
With tree and apple?
I see a snake in there.
What do you notice about these two words?
Rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
No, I see a snake in homes.
You see those as homes. That's interesting. I think I have a different rule in my head, okay, for putting those in there. Let's see if we can add some more and then figure out what the rule is for group number 2. Mason.
I think I know the rule for 2.
What do you think is the rule for number 2?
Number 1 is aminals. Number 2 is living things that are not aminals that are living things. And the third one is non-living.
Okay, so 1 and 2 are living things. Number 1 is animals, and number 2 is living things that are not animals. And then number 3 is non-living things. Well, I think you're definitely on the right track. Anything else about your picture?
I think clouds might go on to number 3.
Okay. Tell us about your habitat, Mason, and the kinds of things you put in there.
I made a waterfall right here, and when I watched on TV, there were like rocks in the waterfall, so I put a three there that I haven't colored in. And I knew salmon went in waterfalls, so I put 4 salmon and 2 bears.
Why did you put bears there?
Because I knew bears ate salmon.
Very interesting.
They eat and I made a log breaking on this rock right here.
Oh.
It fell just right on the white spot and broke.
I see.
Spot. And I made one more log coming down this way.
Very interesting. Now, tell me about some of the things you have in your picture and where should we put them?
I don't know about logs.
Well, what do you think about logs?
They're from living things.
They're from living things, but
Sort of like nests.
they're like nests. Because we might assume that maybe logs are already dead by the time they fall into water, into waterfall. Question mark? Yeah? A dead log? I think I've seen some dead wood like the one you would use for a fireplace. I think. No? What else, Mason?
I put a couple twigs here.
Okay.
And I made little twigs here for when the smash the slivers like.
So what do you think of twigs then? Should we put them in the same place where we put logs and put a question mark next to it? Where would we put the bears?
Number 1.
Okay. Now, what about water?
Number 3.
Okay.
It's a little. Because if
Now-
lakes aren't living things, waterfalls aren't living things.
Waterfalls are not living things, but I have a question for you. What happens when there are living things inside water?
It's a habitat or an ecosystem.
It's a habitat or an ecosystem. Sure, honey. Thank you, Mason. And what are these little black things here on the bottom? Those are worms too. Okay, so if I ask you where should I put worms, what would you say, Lisa? Number 1. And I have one more, the flower, Lisa. Where will we put the flower? Number 2.
One.
For the flower, number 1?
Flowers are living things.
It is a living thing. What, a tree, an apple, palm tree, grass, all those are living things also. I think everyone is done. You have all done a good job. I know some of you need to finish your pictures, but this also shows me that you have definitely learned a lot about habitats. You have learned about living and non-living things in those habitats, and we still have some questions. You know, we have a question about the sun, water, nests, logs, twigs, egg. We need to find out whether we say cattails or cat fur. So we'll continue investigating those questions, but you've done a really good job for now.
We see from watching Pilar's children that classifying into discrete categories is often hard to do. Objects like nests that are made from some animal or plant material may be confused for living things. A pearl that an animal has made is clearly not alive to an adult, but because it's inside a living thing, children have difficulty categorizing it. Children think of living things as things that move. They always identify animals as living, but not always plants. Even if they think of plants as living, they are not always sure about seeds. This is not surprising, since they see no evidence of the seed doing anything until it's planted. Seeds and the plants that grow from them are living things, and like you and me, they need food. Food provides energy, as well as providing materials for creating more cells. The Lowell teachers describe seeds growing successfully on moist paper towels or in plastic bags. So we know that seeds do not have to be in the soil to start growing. So where does a new plant get its food to start growing? Let's look at some seeds to see if we can get any clues. On the outside of the bean, we can identify a protective coat. And this is a scar where the seed was attached to the bean pod. If we make a cut along the back of the seed, it opens into two neat halves. And here you can see the new root and the new shoot. But the bulk of the seed doesn't have many features. In this area are the cotyledons, and there are two of them in this type of seed. So where is the food for the growth of the new plant? We can answer this question by testing parts of the seed for starch. Starch is one of the ways in which plants store food. We test for starch using an iodine solution. When using chemicals, we should always wear safety glasses. To show the starch test, let's use bread first. When we teach about the food groups, we put bread in the cereals and starch category. So if I put brown iodine solution on this bread, we see a black color showing that it contains starch. Now if I put iodine solution on this seed and wait a while, we see that the cotyledon becomes black. The root does not, and neither does the little shoot. It's the cotyledon that stores the starch, and the young plant will need this to start growing. So now we've seen that seeds have their own food source. But how does the food get into the seed?
Before we answer the question, how does food get into a seed? Let's listen to children's explanations of how plants get their food. We asked fourth graders at the Merkland Elementary School in Lowell, Massachusetts, just that.
Yes, you may. Okay, I have this and a lane.
They also get carbon dioxide.
How should we draw the sugar? A square? A square?
Yeah.
The sugar makes
That.
Okay, good. You can check off roots. You can check off stem. What else did you talk about? Food.
The plants make food with minerals.
The sun goes into the stem, and then the leaves.
The sugar gives them energy to grow.
is
The
there?
sun is going into the leaves to help the flower make food.
Okay. John.
Do nothing.
And whose poster is this?
Sarah.
Sarah and Shauna.
Step 1. Roots take in minerals from the soil. Step 2. The minerals go up the leaf. Step 3. The leaves take in sun, water, and carbon dioxide. Step 4. It gives out oxygen and makes sugar. Step 5. Sugar travels through the stem to other parts of the plant. Step 6. Sugar also travels to the plants, to the petals where the pollen is. First, the plant gets water and minerals from the soil. Step 2, the plants also get sunlight.
The plant collects carbon dioxide. Step 4. The last step is that all of the ingredients are mixed together and spread out throughout the flower.
Step 1. The plants suck in water from the roots.
Could you point which picture shows that?
Right here.
Thank you.
Step 2. The water goes up the stem.
Step 3. Then it goes into the leaves.
Step 4. There's holes in the leaves to take in carbon dioxide.
Step 5. Then they mix carbon dioxide with water and sun to make sugar.
Step 6. The sugar gives it energy to grow.
Step 7. Then the plant grows.
Some of these fourth graders know that plants make their own food and they can name the ingredients that go into making the food. But other children believe that soil is the source of food for plants. This idea is quite logical and mirrors the ideas of early scientists.
In the 17th century, many people assumed that the food needed by plants for their growth came from the soil. To test this idea, a Belgian physician named John Baptista van Helmont planted a young willow tree weighing 5 pounds in a porous pot containing 200 pounds of dried soil. He embedded the pot with its tree in the ground and soaked the soil. Then he covered the pot so that no soil could enter or leave. Rainwater could seep in from the ground through the walls of the pot to keep the soil moist. Van Helmont hypothesized that if the plant's food was coming from the soil, then the tree should get heavier as the soil became lighter. After 5 years, Van Helmont weighed the tree and found that it weighed 169 pounds. He then dried the soil in the pot and found that it weighed 199 pounds and 14 ounces. The soil had only lost 2 ounces, but the tree had gained 164 pounds. Van Helmont concluded that the food responsible for the tree's growth could not have come from the soil. Instead, he concluded that the water in the soil was the source of the tree's food.
Van Helmont was partially correct. The water is important, but he didn't have all of the pieces of the puzzle. Let's continue our investigation of how plants make food. Earlier, we saw that plants grown in light are green. This greenness is important in the process of making food. So let's explore what this green color is by looking at some plant cells.
This is the pondweed Elodia. You've probably seen it in home aquariums. Elodia is easy to use because the leaves are thin and you can see the cells easily under the microscope. So if I take off one of the leaves from the plant and put it on a microscope slide and look at it under this microscope, now when we do this, you can see small round structures inside each cell. These are called chloroplasts. Each chloroplast contains thousands of molecules of a chemical called chlorophyll. It is this chemical that gives the green color to plants. Now let's look at cells from this onion. An onion, as you know, grows underground with no light. Now, if I make a cut into the onion, and peel back a layer of cells and put them on the microscope slide and look at those under the microscope, now when we look at these cells, there are no chloroplasts because there is no chlorophyll. So when we look at the cells of a plant that's been exposed to the light, like my pondweed, we do see chlorophyll. And chlorophyll makes a plant look green. But chlorophyll is only made in cells when they are exposed to light. So now we know why the plants that the teachers examined earlier were white or yellow when they were grown in the dark. They have no chlorophyll. And even if you see plants with red leaves, like these, it doesn't mean that there is no chlorophyll. These leaves just have additional chemicals with the chlorophyll. Earlier, we saw that plants in the dark were very long. This is an attempt to reach the light, just like this geranium plant. The geranium plant is long and spindly and bending toward the window. This is an attempt to reach the light. Why is light important to the plant? And why do they contain chlorophyll? We visited Cheryl Lowe, a horticulturalist at the New England Wildflower Society's Garden in the Woods in Framingham, Massachusetts. She talked with us about the importance of light and chlorophyll to plants in the process called photosynthesis.
I've worked at the Wildflower Society for about 9 years, and I'm the horticulture director, which is the equivalent of the garden director. So I'm in charge of all the different exhibits, the plant exhibits, both design and installation, maintaining, weeding, watering, everything that goes with maintaining a garden. Garden in the Woods is the botanic garden for the New England Wildflower Society. It's designed in a naturalistic style, which means we take inspiration from nature. The plants are mixed together rather than in formal lines. We mix trees and shrubs and low-growing things together. The paths tend to wind in gentle curves. Photosynthesis is basically the process of converting light into food energy that plants can use. In the process of photosynthesis, the plant uses the energy from the sunlight, and the plant uses several things to make starch. It uses the energy from the sunlight and carbon dioxide and water. Chlorophyll is the actual compound within the plant that absorbs the sunlight. The carbon dioxide that a plant needs comes from the air. There are openings in the leaves where the air comes into the inside of the leaf and is absorbed by the cells. Water mostly comes from the roots of plants. It's absorbed by the tiny root hairs at the tips of the roots and then transported up into the plant. In addition to the sugars and starches that are produced by photosynthesis, oxygen is also produced. And in some ways, it's probably one of the most important products because that supports the rest of life on Earth.
As Cheryl explains, plants make their own food in a process called photosynthesis. They don't get food from the soil. However, they do get nutrients such as minerals from the soil. So when we buy plant food, we are adding minerals. Minerals are needed, but they are not food. A food contains energy, and minerals don't supply energy.
The food a plant makes is sugar, and the ingredients needed to make the sugar are carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil. But to join these ingredients together, the plant needs energy, and this energy comes from light. Photons of light energy are absorbed by chlorophyll in the chloroplast. The energy is used to join carbon dioxide from the air to hydrogen from the water after a lot of intermediate reactions. The result of this process is that the plant makes sugar for its own use and makes oxygen, a byproduct that is released into the Earth's atmosphere. In photosynthesis, the light energy is transformed into chemical energy when the plant makes sugar.
So plants make sugar, but often so much sugar is made that it is changed into starch for storage and for later use. We tested a seed for the presence of starch by using iodine solution. To check if a plant is photosynthesized, we can test its leaves to see if they contain starch. When we tested for starch in the seed, we simply put iodine solution on it. But because the leaf's green color stops us from seeing any color change, we must take the green chlorophyll out of the leaf before we can test it. Our Lowell, Massachusetts teachers did this starch test with geranium plants. Some plants had been kept in the light, others had been kept in the dark. What do you think will happen when they test for starch using a leaf from the plant in the dark and a leaf from a plant in the light?
Do these look like they're ready?
Well, this one certainly does. Look at the green in that.
It's really changed.
And when you look through it, you can tell that a lot of that chlorophyll has come out.
Let me get this up.
Oh, wow, look at all that green.
Yeah, because that was really dark. And now we have to swish them in the boiling water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hold on tight, because I do tend to want to try to get as much chlorophyll as we can on the leaf. Really stripped of the color. This is really little iodine. Now, if this was covered with foil,
There we go.
it won't have as much chlorophyll in it. Was this the geranium that was covered, the leaf that was covered in aluminum, and that one was not?
Was not. So let's
Okay.
try this and
So
see.
then our prediction would be that this would be what, if it's covered? Would it contain starch or not contain starch?
It wouldn't
Not
because
contain
it
as much starch. It wouldn't
Yeah.
contain as much because of the
was
lack
it-
of light.
Mm-hmm.
We expect the green should turn black.
Should turn black.
And the white part
Should
should not
stay
turn black.
Yeah, stained.
Stay. Looks darker. That's turning.
It is, and
Yeah,
it
that's-
faster too.
Yeah. Oh, look at how black
Look at how
that is.
black
Yeah,
that is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Lots of starch.
Yeah.
Yeah. The starch test shows us that leaves from plants growing in the light do contain starch, but plants growing in the dark do not contain starch.
Now let's go back to the garden in the woods in Framingham, Massachusetts, where Cheryl Lowe explains what plants do with the sugar that they make.
The sugars and starch that a plant produces or makes is used in a number of different ways. It's used to produce more cells so that the plant can grow. It's used as energy to transport nutrients from the roots up to the leaves or other materials from the leaves down to the roots. It's used to produce fruit or flowers, all the things that a plant needs. For those of us that grow plants, we're always concerned about the things that a plant needs in order to grow well. We can adjust the soil by adding nutrients to it if we need it. We can choose the plants that are appropriate for a certain amount of light. Gardeners are very good about watching water to make sure that a plant gets enough. But we really don't think about the carbon dioxide that a plant needs to grow. The carbon dioxide that's crucial to the photosynthesis products is actually the source for most of the mass that you see in something like this large tree behind me. That what really creates the mass, we always assume it comes from the soil or something solid, but it's the carbon dioxide in the air that really provides that mass.
Whether we're talking about a flower or a tree, the plant has made its stem, leaves, and flower, or trunk, bark, and branches, all of its parts, using sugar as the basic building block. And to make this sugar, it used carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil. But remember, without light energy and chlorophyll, a plant could not photosynthesize and could not make sugar. How amazing to think that something this big as a tree, owes its growth to a gas in the air, water in the soil, and light. But does the plant use all of the visible light energy? If I kept a plant under a green light, would it photosynthesize better than if I kept it under a red light? Why? Or why not? And what would a plant look like under a green light? Under a red light? Describe what happens when light photons reach the plant. It was in the 19th century in Germany that Theodor Engelmann experimented with photosynthesis.
Theodor Engelmann, a 19th century scientist, devised an ingenious way of finding out which colors of light are most important for photosynthesis. He placed long strands of green photosynthesizing algae together with oxygen-loving bacteria under a microscope. Engelmann reasoned that since oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis, oxygen-loving bacteria would migrate to the parts of the algae where the most oxygen was being produced. Engelmann then illuminated the algae with different colors of light from a prism. Some parts of the algae received red light, some yellow, some green, some blue, and some violet. The results were startling. The greatest number of oxygen-loving bacteria congregated around the parts of the algae illuminated with red light. The next area was in the violet region. There were very few bacteria in the region of the algae illuminated by yellow-green light. Engelmann's elegant experiment showed that red and blue-violet light is used by algae for photosynthesis.
Engelmann's work illustrates that photons of light in the red and violet regions of the visible spectrum are absorbed by chlorophyll and used in photosynthesis. The green-yellow light is reflected. This explains why most plants appear green in color to our eyes. As we saw earlier, not all plants have completely green leaves, although they all contain green chlorophyll. These leaves have areas without chlorophyll, and therefore we don't see those areas as green. Rather, those areas appear white or yellow. These types of leaves are known as variegated. Sometimes the green of the chlorophyll is masked by other pigments. But remember, only when we see white or yellow on plant leaves do we know that there is no chlorophyll present, and therefore no photosynthesis going on in these areas.
Today we have seen that plants photosynthesize, making sugar in their leaves. A sugary solution flows to all areas of the plant, roots, stem, seeds, and in some of these places the sugar is converted to starch and stored for later use by the plant. This is why we found starch in our bean seed. The sugar made in the leaves was passed to the seed, and there it was converted to starch.
Sugar is not always stored in seeds as starch. In some seeds, such as sunflower seeds, sugar is converted to oil. This is the source for the sunflower oil we use in cooking. In potato plants, sugar made in the leaves travels down the stem and is stored as starch in the tuber or potato that we eat.
When a plant needs the food it has stored, it is reconverted and sent to the growing parts of the plant. So in the northern United States, in the spring, we take advantage of this phenomenon by tapping the trunks of maple trees and collecting the sugary sap from which we make maple syrup.
Plants need leaves for photosynthesis. Generally, this means that conifers, evergreens, are capable of photosynthesizing year-round. Plants in more tropical climates also photosynthesize year-round. But in northern deciduous woodlands, when fall arrives, we notice a drastic change in leaf color. As the days get shorter, there is less light energy for the trees. The temperature drops, and the leaves stop producing chlorophyll. As the green chlorophyll disappears, the orange and yellow pigments, which are normally masked by the chlorophyll, are exposed. The useful substances from the breakdown of chemicals in the leaf, such as chlorophyll, are passed into the tree. Gradually, a layer of cells is formed at the base of the leaf, and this layer prevents further movement of substances into or out of the leaf. The leaf withers and dies and will eventually fall from the tree. Leaf development, as well as leaf fall, occur in response to environmental factors, including the amount of daylight. Flowering in some plants is also influenced by the length of the day, and therefore the amount of available light. This response to light ensures that plants flower in the right season. Because of their response to light, plants are in tune with the seasons. In a later workshop, we'll explore the seasons and the causes of the differences in day length that are so crucial to life on Earth.
Today we looked at the relationship between light and plants. We saw that most seeds will begin to grow with or without light. Plant cells in the light contain a chemical called chlorophyll, and chlorophyll absorbs light energy. Light energy is transformed into chemical energy in sugar during the process of photosynthesis. And the raw materials used in photosynthesis for making sugar are carbon dioxide and water. And the sugar is stored as starch or oil in the plant.
We also saw today that while plants are busily making sugar for themselves, they are also producing oxygen. Without this oxygen, life on Earth as we know it would not exist. We clearly depend on plants for food, but we also depend on them for maintaining our atmosphere. In the next program, we'll explore the importance of plants to animals as we study energy and ecosystems. Don't forget to check out our website for additional information, activities, and discussions with your colleagues. The address is www.lerner.org/channel/workshops/shedding-light. And if you don't have access to the web, you can share your thoughts with us by email, fax, or regular mail. Our email address is channel@lerner.org, and our fax number is 617-496-7670. Finally, our mailing address is the Annenberg CPB Channel, Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory, 60 Garden Street, Mail Stop 82, Cambridge, Massachusetts, 02138.
Annenberg Media. For information about this and other Annenberg Media programs, call 1-800-LEARNER and visit us at www.learner.org.